So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, and I'm not going to be talking about tolerance in the sense that you kind of suspect. It's going to be a different tolerance or intolerance towards everything Armenian. When I moved to the United States, I literally had no problem adjusting my cultural code. I flew into the culture very smoothly, and when in my career services in Brandeis University, when I was looking for jobs and they were coaching me, when they told me that there is no we anymore in my career achievements, but there is I, me only, I felt comfortable. Finally, I can be myself. I love myself. When they said that there is a small talk culture in American culture in the business, that was okay. It was nice to chat before you kind of go to the interview, or you start doing this, hardcore business. So it was okay, but still there was one thing that I was uncomfortable with in the American culture, and that was the abundance of privacy. Too much privacy, especially in New York City, where I got a job later, was kind of killing me and pressuring me. And of course, I can understand that, because in such an overcrowded city, you want to have a private space. And that's the only free private space that you can get, right? Your privacy. But I still missed my noisy and nosy Armenian, literally noisy. So I missed that, of course, even though they sometimes fail to recognize the difference between compassion and not your business kind of situations. I still miss that. Now I'm back here, and for this 1 year, the absence of privacy now has been hitting me in the face. Well, privacy is something that is being violated as of me in Armenia violently. It's being abused, the private space is being abused. The differences between the opinions are not being tolerated, usually, right? And the health of the human being is being tolerated. It is not being tolerated because, they smoke on you on the streets and in the bars and everything. That bothers me. So I consider this as a violation of my privacy. But there was a series of events that happened in my life, and I'm going to share those with you, that allowed me or helped me change my attitude towards that. So we were back, and it was just a couple of weeks, and I took my son Alex for a walk on the beautiful Armenia Street. We were walking holding hands, and that was one of those beautiful Armenian mornings where everybody was happy, or everybody was normal, but you were happy, and everything was sunny and so on. And so we bought this big round matnakash bread. It was delicious. It was amazing. It was hot. And we actually didn't go deliberately to buy that bread. We smelled it. It smelled the place where it was sold. So, it attracted us to buy it. So I almost had this personal connection with solving it. And so we were biting it off, and I was giving it to Alex. He was biting it off and giving it back to me. Until on Armenia Street, I noticed a booth. It was a glass booth where stuff was sold, like clothes and accessories and all that stuff. And the funny thing about it was that water was dripping down the windows. And probably that was a new word in design of legally constructed constructions, So, well, by the way, the biting off thing was accepted by the society because they were kind of smiling, and they tagged it as something cute rather than wrong. But the society decided to intervene into that happiness thing when my son started playing with the dirty water. So the first three foundations, interventions, I would say, came from women dressed outrageously colorfully. And ironically, these comments were about how my son was dressed. And they were like, oh, the baby's gonna catch cold. He's wearing a sleeveless t-shirt and shorts. And it was 30 degrees, and that was okay. And the second one was like, his knees are touching the floor. He's gonna get dirty. Okay. And then the final one was like, oh, he's gonna catch cold. He's playing with the water. Well, he's touching the water, and that's actually that was 30 degrees Celsius. So I thanked them politely, and they had mercy on me, basically. And they left. They didn't continue their accommodations, and there are two reasons for that. Because I think they felt that they are superior to me by nature because they don't live in an island land. And honestly, they were not really blaming me, they were blaming the person who trusted me. Right? So they had to listen, and I thanked them. But the final set of accommodations that morning came from a square-shaped, really-broke guy, and he was like, I'll take the child away from there, a sweet dog was there. And he didn't even bother to see if I followed his accommodation because he was so sure that, you know, his kind of verdict was unquestionable, and, you know, there shouldn't be a violation of that rule that he brought down to me, right? So he just passed away. Passed away. So he passed by. Okay, so I was like, what should I do in this kind of situation? Should I be intolerant, and should I be like, hey, this is not your business, this is my life, this is my child, and that's our choice? Or should I be like, thank you, and, you know, do whatever they would recommend? I ended up doing that because, you know, I took Brian Slasher away from this booth, and he was unhappy at that time. But, you know, the trade-off worth that because I thought to myself, and my brain was working like a computer, and the algorithm solved itself in favor of tolerating, in favor of saying that's okay. Because I understood that the Armenian society intervened into my privacy for its best, out of love, out of caring, because they wanted to preserve the Armenian gene. They wanted to save their child from catching a cold or from a bad parent. So I thought that, you know, I don't have to question that, and I have to actually cherish this intervention. The other day I took a cab, and the cab driver was like, those Persians, the government has to do something about it. And I'm like, your comment doesn't make any sense. What are these three aspects? First, it's intolerant and it's discrimination, and the government cannot really come up with a law that would be discriminating based on anything, basically, except for some cases in Russia. We all know that. But still, I hope the Armenian government won't do that. Second aspect is that it doesn't make sense in terms of the economy. As an economist, I can say that Persian tourists have revitalized the tourism industry of Armenia, basically. And we have to be thankful for that as a nation. And the third one, I'm going to be a business consultant now. I'm going to say that your notion, business-wise, doesn't make any sense. Because you are charging the Persian tourists double, right? So you're overcharging them. So you want the government to do something about your best customer. But still, I decided to be tolerant. I didn't just voice my opinion. Finally, the other day, my son Alex and I were watching the cartoon, and by the way, we progressed from the jur to discussing difficult topics and love and so on. And so there was that fairy tale where the beautiful prince, the cartoon character, is hugging and kissing the beautiful princess, the other character. And my son was very excited, and he was like, when I grow up, I'm going to marry a beautiful woman. Because that's what men do, right? And can you imagine, somebody should be crazy enough to do that? And then I was like, yeah, sure, I want you to marry a beautiful woman. But then the tolerant part of me was like, you can't deprive the child from, you know, letting him know that there's something else. And I was like, but you know, I can't imagine something different happening in the world with other people. But that's there. But I didn't finish, and my son's eyes they're round, they went even rounder. But he didn't have a chance of absorbing this information because my wife Yana just rushed in the room and literally grabbed the child and, you know, ran away to another room. She ran away and had him run away from the reality, from the brutal reality that we perceive as we perceive it in Armenia. And then when we had this conversation, the discussion of what happened, right? We were like, we thought that we're a pretty tolerant, educated family. What's the problem with that? And there was a phrase that explained everything. I wanted to preserve the family values, right? And I kind of agree. but it was very intolerant. So I think that intolerance is already, we grew into intolerance due to some, a number of reasons, geopolitical situation, being the minority, countries that occupy us all the time. And so we grew into this, but that's in our genetic code now, unfortunately. Now I'm going to talk to you as a management consultant. What should we do in this kind of a situation when we have a genetically intolerant nation and globalization? We have to do business, right? We have to revitalize the Armenia Incorporated, right? The business. And the sooner we do that, the better. So, my advice of optimization in this business would be the following. Since we cannot be non-tolerant, since we cannot be tolerant, we have to be tolerant, let's channel that intolerance, let's channel that negative energy to improving our market. Let's channel it to economy. Why don't we, when we are about to bark back to a woman who is questioning our parenting methods, why don't we save that intolerance? Why don't we save that negative energy? And why don't we voice it to a more suitable situation? When, for example, on the Northern Avenue, you are ordering a champagne-based drink, and the waiter comes with the bill and gives you the bill for the whole bottle of champagne, saying that we opened it for you, right? This is the situation that you have to be as intolerant as possible. Go to their Facebook page, write a horrible, truthful comment about how they do the business. Save that intolerance and burst it out whenever it helps your economy, because that's more important. Vote against monopolies. By not buying stuff from this supermarket chain, right? But buy your groceries from the guy who owns a pickup truck and is selling vegetables, organic vegetables, from his pickup truck, and that's how you're going to be voting against monopolies. You're going to be doing that with your dollars or drops in our case. Whenever you see somebody being hired, not based on merit, but based on the fact that he's a relative of somebody, voice that opinion, be intolerant to this kind of situations. Because we have to cherish those sweet little Armenian interventions into our privacy until we are fully globalized. And the final thought that I want you to go home with today, from our talk at least, from my talk, is that stealing is very bad. But do not penalize those who are stealing your privacy from you. Penalize those who are stealing your country from you. Thank you.